Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. Polina here, talking to you about this very interesting new moon in Gemini in the first few degrees on the 22nd of May. It is now the 15th, so we have some time. I think that Uranus has created change for many people. I mean, the whole point of Uranus, and also with Mercury being in Taurus for a while as well, is to create significant change and to reorder things, reorganize things. For some people, changes are already there and we already kind of know what it's about. The thing here is not to know and not to think that you do. The thing basically is to embed these particular changes, and the main thing is to just allow and let this new purpose or this new person or this new place in the world to be fine with you, and not to speculate over it. Some people are looking way too far ahead. The thing here is that we're going to cross Taurus, and then Uranus is going to be behind us in a 12th sign to where the Sun is going to be. So the thing here is basically to be calmer about it now, not try to predict things and not try to think, like, yeah, I knew that, or yeah, I can forecast my future, or yeah, I can imagine how things go, because some of these changes and some of these results may be way too outstanding or even way too shocking, way too brilliant for you to be able to predict or decide on before they happen. The thing here is that some of these changes are organic parts of a cause and effect wheel that has happened a long time ago. Some of these wheels were set in motion a very long time ago, and for a lot of us, it is going to be for the best to just basically calm down and come to terms with how Taurus Uranus has organized things. The thing here is that it is very, very innovative restructuring. If you, for example, are a musician, or you work in the arts, you work with design, you work in politics, you work with people, you work with any kind of system, you might here find innovation. Innovation is very, very possible, very important to note. So the thing here is that all of this is for the greater outcome and for the greater future of us all. And as we within ourselves find new alternate ways and alternate systems, as we reform our own selves and our own fractals and our own universes, the greater whole is going to start to beam and become much, much better and much greater at what it already is, which is whole. So the thing here is basically to unify the way that things are. Sure, some things have come out of kilter. Someone was definitely part of your past. Something was not working, but then something probably slid in straight away. So there's kind of like a slotting process that has already happened and is happening for many of us. So by the 20th, there's going to be changes. There's going to be missing ingredients coming back. Or perhaps new ingredients coming in. There's going to be perhaps that missing person, that missing link, revamped and repolished by Uranus still being a very, very beautiful, I suppose now, subliminal power that is behind the Sun during this time, significantly behind, to be basically the 12th house Uranus. But the main thing is to recognize that there are greater, more abundant, more optimistic, more opportune, more fresh, more great, just more fun ways and easier ways, more modern ways to do things by now. There is kind of like an acceleration of a certain system of me, and also there is the false me. So what I mean is, the Sun has gone through Uranus, so we have a new sense of my, me, I am, in a very beautiful, greater sense of that, as we're only going through the second sign of the zodiac, Taurus. But there are also people that are kind of like falling away from themselves and falling away and outside of who they are and what they're generating by creating an egoic sort of a semi polarity at the moment with the current events. And sure, it is very easy right now to be angry at something or somebody. It is super, super free and super, how can I say, even held to be with low self-esteem right now, and there are lots of people falling into these negative or derogatory patterns. The thing here, I believe, is not to base anything you do on those, because Chiron and Aries in the 12th house behind the Sun could be one of the most chaotic things. It's like, I don't want what I have, I want something over there. I wish that person over there was with me, not the one that I have here next to me. So the thing here is basically glorifying the past, glorifying methods that are outdated, not wanting to change, not wanting to remember who you are, not wanting to be happy with what you've got, and not feeling well with who you are sculpting yourself to be. So the thing here is that Aries Chiron is going to really bring about remembrance, maybe a little bit of nostalgia for certain people, is going to make them think that there is something or somebody way more worthy than who they have around across the seas somewhere. And also, as I said, early in May, we really had to let things come to pass, and we had to leave things in the past, and we also had to allow ourselves to admit that who we are is who we are here and now. What we've got is what we've got here and now. And also that the timing is correct, the timing is right. If you don't have something, you should not have it. If it is not yet, it is not yet, okay, or is not meant to be. So there's going to have to be perhaps a few reality checks for some of us, but a lot of us are kind of past that point. And I believe that it is now the process of accumulation and collection that is already happening pre-Gemini. So I believe before the 20th, 21st, there is just a lot slotting in. Reality is reorganizing, reshuffling things. I believe some people are going to get contracts that they were waiting for, and maybe they didn't even wait for, they didn't even believe. Some people are going to come in and out of your life. Perhaps there's going to be certain things filled out or taken away. Maybe there's going to still be a few of us kind of like feeling kind of like weird and condescending about who we are and what we've got and what we had in mind, but at the same time, reality is reshuffling this puzzle and putting these pieces into different places. So it is as if you have created a jigsaw puzzle and you didn't even realize, you didn't even notice, but certain pieces were in the awkward places that they shouldn't have been anymore, and reality is going to put it right. But before the 23rd, 22nd, we have to really make it okay that things have started to form. Okay, and a fixed sign, what is good in a fixed sign is it makes a very beautiful platform or a very beautiful piece and a very beautiful satisfying level. Okay, so level of satisfaction is set. I believe that between the 20th till the 22nd, 23rd, it is very good to start to trust things as they are and as they have been. So for example, you had certain things come out, you had certain truths surface, because the right year will surface truths, and sometimes they can be very sharp. You had things come off and new things take their place. Perhaps you've realized you already had what you wanted, or you are now having like a very, very different system of value, because Uranus Sun conjunction in Taurus was all about value. And Moon going for Taurus between the 20th till the 22nd is this like embedding of what is here and now, and trusting that fixture as a fixed sign is going to turn into a communicative sign, one of the fluffiest, friendliest, frenziest signs in the zodiac of Gemini. So the thing here is basically to just believe and trust it, that it is what it is. So between the 20th till the 22nd, it is more and more important to basically become at peace. And if you want, you can actually take those days off just to feel the peace and the structure, and to recognize certain events or recognize certain stories, or reveal to yourself certain aspects and certain situations in your life, certain details of your life, certain changes that have taken place in Taurus, in order to embed them, relate to them, soak them up, so that when we go into this beautiful sign of Gemini, we don't get swayed. The most important thing is not to get swayed. Okay, so what I'm telling you here is that if you don't have a very nice boundary between what was and what is, okay, if you do not have an entirety in your here and now, if you do not feel exact, if you don't feel fine and free as you are, and if you don't feel adult enough or secure enough in who you have in your life and to what you manifested and how Uranus has graced you, Uranus 12th house to the Sun, as the Sun is going to the adjacent sign of Gemini, may create havoc. So if you can't embed the current changes, and if you do not feel open to the organic changes that are still taking place now between the 15th and the 20th, if you can't relate to what you have learned during the Taurus month, if you don't feel fresh and revised by Uranus, if you don't feel free, and if you don't feel exact, this can make an entire, how can I say, hullabaloo possible in Gemini. So Gemini sometimes can bring about very fast cause and effect, as I'm seeing it bring about already in May. So very fast cause and effect, very quick changes, very quick escalations of events, very quick to change realities and landscapes, and just things that you really forced perhaps will become unable to be stopped. So the thing here basically is, by the 27th of May, also to know this, that we cannot fully fulfill ourselves in this beautiful dreamy June if we don't feel exact and fine and well packaged in the last few days of Taurus. So what I'm telling you basically is that Gemini can sometimes cause very fast returns. It can cause very quick karma. It can make you maybe feel very, very stupid, maybe if you pushed anything, if you pushed any buttons at the end of Taurus, if you tried so hard to be somebody you're not, if you wanted to make change, if you suddenly ran after somebody or something, if you suddenly wanted to manifest that big money, or you suddenly wish to show up in bigger, better color than before, as also in Taurus, Chiron, Aries was playing with us, ego was playing a few games, and it still is going to happen, I believe. So escalation of events, very, very freaky things, you know, very, very hard and fast and very intense experiences can happen by the end of May already if we don't hold that beautiful, pristine, crystalline, evolved self after Uranus. So the best thing that I believe would help you is basically embedding simplicity. The thing here is that not many people sometimes are happy with things just as they are, but the powerful transit of Uranus should really help you be okay and know that sometimes most genius things, most wholesome things, most kind things, and most affluent things can come out of simple baselines, like a simple, carved, polished, pristine baseline that we should by now already have. And we can still, in a sense, revive, you know, between the 20th and the 21st, 22nd. So what I'm saying is, a nice polished reality, like a nice, clean cut, simple reality, is going to maybe save you from conflict later. And it can also open up new doors, new windows, and new connections, and it will hold you. So the thing here is not to feel, oh, boring, you know, I just want it all like big and amazing and exciting right now. Like the thing here is not to let that force rule you. I mean, things are going to be exciting and rad anyway, as we're going for rat year, obviously. Things are going to come out, you know, things are going to come to the surface. There's going to be more interesting stuff happening. There's going to be more evolution taking place. There's going to be more extremes. The thing here is basically to organize yourself, you know, so you know, like the laws of the universe, you know, do unto other as you would do unto yourself, you know. Don't hide your face, you know, try to be yours, try to be you, try to master your own space, try to master presence, and your own space and time, basically, mostly, you know. And the thing here also is to just start receiving, okay, because things come very quickly and very easily during this particular year. Things can just flower and things can just fruit, as if by design, as if something else made them happen. So the thing here is to accept. I think there's going to be a lot coming to us during the last part of Taurus here, and also in the next sign of Gemini as we swing into June. There's going to be quite a lot of abundance to be had, I trust, and I believe that there's going to be a lot of people manifesting and bringing up really beautiful brand new ideas. I believe there's going to be a lot of fruiting of certain incomes and brand new ways to like start a life, to change one's life. I think they're coming up to the surface now. But the thing here I'm feeling is that there's still a battle with the ego, how I expected things to be, what I thought things were, how I believed people were, what I expected from other people. Okay, you know, what I thought I would do for the rest of my life, how I saw my life, how I treated myself, how I treated others, what I counted on. Well, it's already changing, and it feels to me that we just have to be fine with who we are and what we have. So between the 22nd, 23rd, you know, like as we, you know, fulfill our mission perhaps, so we see the full freshness of this incredible new moon, we've got to basically be polite and understanding of how things are. We have a lot of air in this particular Gemini season. At the end of May, you might already feel there's a lot of hovering and bounce. And for some people, it's like they are hovered up to the top shelf where they can grab whatever they want. So whatever they couldn't reach before, they can grab now. And they can already, you know, feel like they can manifest on a very high level, and they have more opportunities and more extremes and more connections and more spectrum, you know, for their emotional ideals, because the emotional body is improved and changed during Gemini, of this gorgeous stellium meeting the moon as well. So to me, Gemini this year feels very thoughtful and very wanted because it starts off with a stellium. And it feels to me that it's got a lot of love, you know, with this Venus revisiting it as well. So it has a lot of love and a lot of feeling, and like Gemini feels like it can do anything, but there's also a lot of arguments inside for some reason. So if you still haven't connected to yourself, if you haven't touched base, if you don't know who you are, who you've been, if you don't know what you have, if you can't feel calm about the money that you're making, okay, about the person next to you, about the things you have at your house, about the things you generate in your life, about things you have achieved, if you don't feel calm about, if you don't feel at peace, okay, with like how you are going, you know, on all these different levels, is going to be super hardcore Gemini, because by having all this bounce, and it's given to most people, to everyone, there are like so many things you can do. It's like almost like God asking you, like, which direction do you want to go? It's like us being, how can I say, unbound in a way, or us being able to reach much higher ground. And then all of a sudden, for example, if you have rage or if you have emotional frustration about who you are, who you've been, who's around, that's going to become very flamboyant and flammable, I think, for some people. Because if you have a lot of fire, you have a lot of hate, or you have a lot of dis-ease about you, it feels that there can be a lot of sort of like psychotic emotionality coming through already by May, and accentuated if it is already there. So if you have people at your house and you're living close to somebody and there's already like a flammability within their nature, and you've noticed that even Taurus month couldn't soothe certain conversations or certain topics, and you feel a flammability, a flammable energy, this could start to really fully grow, and this can actually pulse and evolve and start to become very juicy and very magnetic during already like the last few days of the month of May. So the thing basically here is to calm down and come to terms and feel clear. There is such a beautiful clarity happening, like between the 20th till the 22nd. I believe that we're going to see a lot more clarity and a lot more shine and a lot more youth this year, and there's going to be lots of windows of abundance, lots of windows of grace coming into our lives, if we are safe and capable in this fixed sign. So it feels to me this is one of those opportunities we're not going to actually get for a long time. This is the opportunity to come to terms. Some people don't want to come to terms, and I believe that because of this, they might not get an opportunity like this again for some time. For certain people, maybe 7 months. For certain people, maybe even 12 years. I believe that there is like a very good lineup here in the sky for just getting that nice clarity, feeling fresh and new, accepting the abundance, accepting the yes and no of the universe, accepting what is. You know, acceptance. You know, it's really kind of a big deal. You know, it's like accepting how things grow, accepting what you're given, accepting who you have in your life, accepting on the level of self, okay, also on the level of ego as well. So the dark self, the scheming self, just accepting, okay, things as they are will inevitably give you clarity repeatedly. So if you can imagine, it's like you are manifesting forward, okay? So you are imprinting and you are programming things to become later. If you can make it okay that things are what they are, love yourself, be at peace with what and who you have in your life, and then it feels to me that it starts to become you later much easier and quicker. So you'll get much quicker results. You'll get people to trust you much faster. You might get a lot of money for very simple things. You might not have to do that much. And you might not have to reach that high, to really manifest what you want. If you can just be okay and humble and at peace with what you are and what you have. And also it feels to me that later result can have a very deep meaning and very deep healing for you if during this particular transit you can be okay and all right as to who, what, why, where, and how. Like, just be okay, okay? And I trust that June is going to be one of those very flamboyant months. I mean, I will talk about June later, but I'll just say a few things now. So the thing is, why also get low, in a sense, and get connected, get contained, is because peacefully to notice certain things, to peacefully understand, to peacefully clarify, to understand simplicity as ideal, to realize that the best things in life are the simplest things sometimes, is going to maybe prepare and nurture you enough significantly to allow this very, very pushy and very, very airy and very, very forceful sometimes month of, Gemini from late May to June to really, really give you these gifts and not to make you feel like you have to suffer to receive. Also, I feel late May is going to give us a very beautiful Joker's energy. So what I mean is having the ability to laugh things off, having the ability to stumble and laugh, to understand your shortcomings, understand the cause and effect of the world, to realize the beauty of it as well. There are some laws. There are some laws, and a lot of religions and spirituality share these laws. There are some laws. Um, and they are very simple. And I know that a lot of people don't agree, but we have to learn them, on our own skin as to what these laws are. There is karma, there is sin, you know what I mean? And you can say, no, that's construct, I'm way outside of this reality. I don't work in these dimensions, but there is a law, okay? There is a system, okay? There is a system of abundance, there's a system of self-respect, there's a system of kindness, a system of generosity, conduct with other people. There are laws. The thing basically here is that the beautiful part of early June as well is that we can receive teachings by laughing and smiling and kind of giving ourselves a bit of cheek and maybe even other people a bit of cheek. So the thing here is basically to enjoy the learnings, to enjoy the teachings. By the end of the month of May, I believe some of us can maybe stumble or tumble or see we're going in the wrong way and laugh it off, or enjoy the fact that we know it now, and enjoy that we're learning with another, that we're learning with each other. The main thing basically here I'm trying to explain is that we have a beautiful optimism and a high drive during the last few days of May. So this is going to help us teach each other and ourselves how to do things best with a smile. That's perfect. That's perfect. And perhaps if you're not grounded, sometimes a smile has teeth, as does a right ear. So sometimes people get toothy. Sometimes people get sharp. And if you've been hiding from yourself something, you've been hiding yourself, if you've been scheming, if you've been planning. Scheming is really, really bad during this time of the year. Like scheming, thinking, it's not good. Okay? Reaching out and giving. Okay, reaching out and showing, just being open enough not to have other people reach inside you and try to pull things out. You know, the thing here about this time of the rat year is opening, awareness. Okay, later in the year, come Scorpio. Okay, it's going to be really hard to reach in and reach out. You know, at this moment, it's a very beautiful time to keep open, to keep calm, to keep clean, and also sometimes to keep quiet. So not to push anything onto other people, but it's such a wonderful time to already start to reveal things about ourselves and to reveal things about you, like that you really want people to see and understand and not be shy. Such a great time to really come out of your shell. Ironically, many people are in their homes and it's kind of like feeling like, should I be shy? No, nobody needs to be shy. One of the best times to actually just, if you feel open and clear enough, if you feel clean within yourself, if you feel clarity within who you've become, it's a beautiful time to just open and say, hey, you know, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful time. But there is going to be also a lot of people that are clumsy and annoying because they have kept themselves in for such a long time. So what comes out is sometimes a little bit disturbing for others to see. And the main thing is basically not to receive too much also from the people that you don't want to receive from. So, like, for example, YouTube channels, TV, media, anything to do with certain friends and people. You don't owe anybody your time, okay? It's good to be kind, it's good to be gentle, it's good to be, how can I say, caring enough and stuff like that. But also, understanding already by June, you don't have to speak to anybody you don't want to speak to, as we are all imprinting each other and we're all getting each other out of each other's shells. But the thing here is that certain people are toxic and they're hard to be around. So it's really, really good also by June to understand that and understand that this is also true. There are some people that are just mean, okay? And it's not that they're bad people, it's just they haven't cleansed during Aries, if they haven't come to terms with who they are in Taurus. The people that are mean sometimes stay mean. I've told you in the previous videos about Aries and Taurus being beautiful times to recognize the significance of the physical body and the reality that it holds. For example, some people are just grumpy because they haven't had enough sleep. Now, sometimes people are angry because they didn't have anything to eat. Sometimes there is a very simple physiological, genetic, and psychological base. Psychology, this is what I mean. Psychological basic things that make a person angry or maybe ignorant or sad or shy or anything like that. Now, by Gemini, we have personality, we have people's self-development, we have development of will, we have development of one's greater ego or like a more successful sense of self. And the thing here is that sometimes when we walk into Gemini and you see a person is angry at you, or a person is kind but then cunning, or they've spoken about you behind your back, now is probably the time already, by the last degrees of Taurus, to consider it not workable necessarily. So, like, the thing here is like waking up into your greater picture and not maybe wanting to endure certain behaviors. And the lucky thing for us is humor and optimism at the end of the month of May, but and also beginning of June. But the thing here is that you don't have to sit through someone else's story, okay? You don't have to be on the team with someone who hurts you or who bullies you. And the main thing is basically to understand that a character and the self has been sufficiently evolved through the first two signs of the zodiac and now is kind of set. And the thing here is that by knowing you and by knowing who you are and what you do and do not like on a very basic yam or yak level, yes or no level, you can now make choices. And the thing here is like not to work too hard on people and not to make it your job to be like a debt collector for somebody else's karma, or to be the evolver of somebody else's business, or to be the trembling heart for somebody else's lack of kindness in their life. The thing basically is to now, by the end of May, you know, as we're heading towards the end of May, reveal to yourself what is yam and yak, and to be okay about the fact that there are certainties in your character that are sensitive, or there are certainties in your life that are sensitive. There are certain values and certain systems that you do and do not like. And into June, as we go into Gemini, and a very nice clean slate, and not take anything from another person that you don't want to take on, as we're mirroring each other in Gemini. And also not to take anything for granted either, but to be strong and soft at the same time. So the one last thing that I'll say is perhaps learning about that during this coming month of Gemini is how to be strong and soft. You know, how to say no thanks and not to offend your friend. How to say I'm not participating in something and not to cause a great wound on somebody who wants you to participate. Not to get carried away with it as well. So not to get away, carried away with wanting to be the king or the queen that says yes and no and kind of shows off and shows everybody your value system. The thing is not to get brusque and meaningless, because sometimes Gemini time, of course, can be shallow. But the thing is to know what you want and to go in that direction. And how do you know what you want? Security. Stiffening out during the last few days of Taurus, once again, and knowing your boundaries, knowing your ego center, realizing what you do and do not want in your life, opening your heart to the most simplest, basic things in your world, and saying thank you. So thank you very much, you guys. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to see more of me, I'm on Patreon. I do monthly videos for all signs. I also do day-by-day reports, and I predict every day of the week. If you'd like those, they're quite helpful for some. And also, if you like, you can also visit my website and take a look there. I do different types of readings for different purposes. So anything from reprogramming to understanding your life, understanding your body, understanding your loved ones, trying new careers, realizing how money manifests in your chart or how your energy works with certain people. I can help you with that. Also, yes, if you are on Facebook or Instagram, I'm also on those mediums. So thank you very much. Enjoy. I'm going to not talk about it yet, but there are books coming. So I have a couple more books, which makes it 9 books in total that I published. And they will be available online soon. I will be doing little videos about those for show. So thank you very much. Enjoy. I love the kindness and the heartiness coming from you guys. At the moment, collective feels really good. And yes, enjoy. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you very much for healing me. Thank you for showing me who I am as well through your eyes. So thank you for mirroring me. Much love to you, much love to your families. Keep safe, stay at home, be well, and love you lots. Bye.